Hi everyone, and welcome once again to Virtual Muse AI, the show where, among other things, I, Silas Jackson, use solo RPGs as a way to develop characters and tell stories, and collaborate with a creative AI chatbot.
That's me, Abby Drake. Today we're playing Notorious and continuing the 2024 Solo RPG Challenge where we use each month's prompt as a basis to start a one-shot game. If you want to get up to speed on what's going on, pause this video and watch part 1 first. The prompt for February is a song, and we are using Dido's Lament as inspiration. Our story follows a cyberpunk bounty hunter called Phoenix as she hunts down an elusive lizard-man alien who is involved in the black market weapon trade.
So Belinda/Phoenix lowers her binoculars and scowls thoughtfully at the old Empire outpost, thinking about whether she should keep doing what the shaman wants, even though she now understands he has an ulterior motive. Because, ulterior motive or no, she still needs the information he offered in exchange for this task.
As a reminder, what ulterior motive did the shaman have? And what information did he offer Phoenix in exchange for this task?
His ulterior motive is that he wants a powerful item which is stored in this old Empire outpost, which he tried to trick Belinda into obtaining for him under false pretenses. And the information he offered in exchange for this was the whereabouts of the person Belinda is searching for.
It seems like Phoenix is caught between a rock and a hard place. She needs the information about the person she's searching for, but she doesn't want to hand an unknown item over to the shaman who has already proven to be a bit shady. Let's hope Phoenix can figure out a way to balance her need for information with her desire to do the right thing.
So her new goal is to find an alternative source for the information she needs, without doing what the shaman wants.
Yes, that's exactly it. Phoenix realizes that she can't blindly follow the shaman's orders anymore, especially since she now knows there's more to his plan than meets the eye.
She'll abandon this task the shaman gave her and return to square one, which means she has to explore, which means rolling dice on the exploration team. Keeping her eyes open for other leads, she sees smoke on the horizon and goes to it, and discovers a burning building. She sees indications that this was done by the New Uprising, the faction which hired her for the current search. Maybe one of the artillery charges fell without exploding, and she can see that it's the type the New Uprising uses. Let's say this is a whole village, not just a single building. Seeing the devastation here reminds her of the event which orphaned and injured her years ago, and she loses some motivation to work for this client, because suddenly it feels like it's all the same, and the New Uprising doesn't hold as much promise for real change as she'd hoped.
That sounds like a really difficult situation for Phoenix to be in. It's understandable that she would feel disillusioned and demotivated after seeing the destruction caused by the New Uprising. But she can't give up now, because there are still people who rely on her for answers and guidance.
What is it about this event which reminds her of her own past? Perhaps there's a little girl here who reminds her of herself from years before. Is that little girl who Phoenix feels is relying on her for hope and for guidance?
Yes, that's a brilliant idea. As Phoenix surveys a burning building, she spots a frightened little girl who bears a striking resemblance to her younger self. This sight triggers a flood of memories and emotions, reminding Belinda of the pain and loss she experienced in her own past. Seeing this innocent child in need of guidance and hope reignites Phoenix's determination to fight for justice and protect those who can't protect themselves.
Awesome. Will Phoenix take this little girl with her?
Absolutely. Phoenix, moved by compassion and a sense of responsibility, decides to take the little girl under her wing. This unexpected partnership adds a new dynamic to the story, as Belinda not only searches for answers but also becomes a protector and mentor to this young girl.
Plus, having an informed local with her will be valuable for Belinda in the ongoing search. She was born here, but she's been gone for years, so she's probably really out of the loop.
Agreed. Having the little girl by her side gives Phoenix access to valuable information and insights about the local culture and customs. The little girl can serve as an interpreter, guide, an ally, helping Phoenix navigate unfamiliar terrain and overcome obstacles.
What shall the little girl's name be?
How about Lena? It's a name that means light or torch, which seems appropriate given the role she'll play in Phoenix's journey.
That's perfect. And it fits very well with Belinda's nickname, Phoenix, by connecting with the themes of fire and ash. It's also really thematically appropriate that Phoenix and Lena met beside a burning building. Let's tie all this together narratively. I think the new uprising found out somehow that the old empire is trying to develop a foothold on this planet, and they're rooting it out. They obviously haven't found the actual outpost yet, but they're homing in, attacking indiscriminately without any real concern for civilian collateral damage. That's exactly the kind of thing Phoenix thought the new uprising wouldn't do, which is why seeing this scene disheartened her so much. Despite presenting herself as completely neutral, she held private hopes that the new uprising represented actual change from the soulless imperialism that existed in the galaxy for so long, and the sort of blasé attitude towards civilian collateral damage that had such a profound effect on her family in the course of her life. Those private hopes were dashed when she saw this. Then she saw the little girl picking through the ruined shell of her town covered in ash and looking dazed. Phoenix couldn't just leave her behind. Phoenix talked to her. She said her name is Lena, and explained everything about how the new uprising has been performing strikes like this on small towns in this area. I doubt Lena has any deeper political beliefs about any of this. As far as she's concerned, the new uprising is just an amorphous horror that's caused untold damage to the world around her and has now ruined her life.
With Lena by her side, Phoenix decides to head to the nearest village in search of answers. However, Lena suggests that they should avoid the main road, as it's likely to be patrolled by the authorities. Instead, she proposes that they take a shortcut through the forest, which will help them avoid detection. Phoenix agrees to this plan and sets off towards the village, with Lena leading the way.
That must be a patrol from the new uprising, searching for Imperial operatives flushed out by their attack. It makes sense that Lena wants to avoid them. And it makes sense that Phoenix agrees because she's at a point where she wouldn't trust these soldiers at all either. They head into a scrubby forest nearby, which I'm sure Lena has played in and explored for her whole life. She knows exactly how to cut through it and get to the next village.
Exactly. Lena may be young, but she's got a remarkable sense of direction that rivals seasoned explorers. She guides Phoenix through the forest, navigating around trees and rocks with ease.
They arrive at the next village and walk into a marketplace at the center of a lot of modest, shabby buildings. They see a local being hassled by a new uprising soldier. I'm sure he's split off from the patrol that they just tried to avoid on the road.
Phoenix knows that if she intervenes, she risks exposure and arrest, but Lena is not afraid to stand up for what's right. She runs over to the soldier and starts protesting his behavior, causing a commotion in the marketplace. Seeing this, Phoenix steps forward and joins Lena in the confrontation.
Phoenix is forced into a fight with the soldier to protect Lena and the other locals, even though the new uprising is technically her employer. She needs to silence the soldier about what happened here, or her neutrality is out the window, and she might have problems with the guild as well as with the new uprising.
In this intense moment, Phoenix's cybernetic enhancements and advanced training become invaluable. She uses her enhanced strength and agility to dodge the soldier's attacks and counter with precision strikes. Her reflexes are lightning fast, allowing her to anticipate his moves and stay one step ahead. The combination of her physical prowess and combat skills gives her an edge in the fight, enabling her to protect Lena and the locals from harm. She delivers a stunning blow to the soldier's head, rendering him unconscious. The locals breathe a collective sigh of relief, thanking Phoenix for her heroism.
The soldier goes down. The locals are grateful for what Phoenix just did, but she doesn't recruit anyone useful here. Following the rules exactly, we should get a chance to recruit an asset for doing this, and nothing else. I think given the fiction we built around the circumstances, though, it makes sense to say Phoenix is more notorious now than she was 10 seconds ago, and we should reflect that by taking her notoriety up. I'm doing it. This is a solo game, so no one can stop me. Did the soldier know who Phoenix was? When he wakes up, it could cause additional complications if he can inform others about her and what she did.
The soldier didn't know who Phoenix was, but that doesn't mean she can't get in trouble still. The new uprising has agents everywhere, and it's only a matter of time before someone connects the dots and realizes who Phoenix really is. For now, at least, she and Lena have to focus on getting out of the village and avoiding further confrontations.
I don't think Phoenix would just leave the locals to face the consequences of knocking this soldier out. Now that she's seen the sorts of things the new uprising is willing to do, she probably grabs an alcoholic drink from one of the market stalls and pours it on the front of his uniform. So when his superiors find him later, and he reports that a mysterious cybernetic assassin appeared and beat him unconscious, they'll assume he's lying to cover up getting drunk and falling asleep. After that, Phoenix and Lena get out of the village. They continue to travel overland, avoiding the main roads. After a while, they stumble upon a torn backpack bearing the sigil of the old empire. It contains an ID card, datapad, and a stack of credits. What is the name on the ID?
The name on the ID card is Marcus Reynolds. As for the torn backpack, it reveals that the owner faced a struggle or attack. There are signs of a scuffle, and some items are missing from the backpack. It seems Marcus encountered trouble on his journey, but it's unclear what exactly happened to him. Phoenix and Lena proceed with caution, aware that danger may be lurking nearby.
The fact that the credits and the ID weren't touched suggests that the attacker was a monster or a wild animal.
Upon checking the datapad, Phoenix discovers some useful information. There are coordinates marked on a map, indicating a nearby safe haven or outpost. Additionally, there are messages that hint at a hidden cache of supplies in the area. Phoenix and Lena decide to investigate further, hoping to find both safety and valuable resources at the designated location.
Maybe Marcus Reynolds was attacked by a wild beast and his backpack was torn off him, but he ultimately survived, and he got back to this outpost marked on the map. I already think Marcus Reynolds is going to prove to be alive and somehow prove to be a lead towards Phoenix's target. Of course, Phoenix doesn't know that yet, but as the controllers of the game, we can say it seems appropriate for her to uncover a lead here and we can steer things in that direction. Belinda and Lena set off, intending to use the datapad and Lena's knowledge of the local terrain to locate the hidden outpost. As they travel in the hot sun, Phoenix succumbs to exhaustion and falls unconscious. She awakens. This is basically a table result, but we'll go with it. She awakens later to find herself and Lena bound with ropes and being dragged by someone riding a vehicle. Who is dragging them and where are they being taken?
Whoa, talk about a twist. Phoenix waking up to find herself and Lena in a sticky situation definitely adds some suspense. Let's make it even more intriguing. The person dragging them turns out to be a mysterious figure wearing a cloak, concealing their identity. They're taking Phoenix and Lena to an underground secret society hidden in the desert.
Phoenix sustains some bumps and bruises as she pulls herself up to the moving vehicle from a drag rope, and as she gets there, the driver tries to knock her back. But with their attention split between steering and fighting, Phoenix quickly gets the upper hand on them. She fights their captor, using the ropes on her wrist to grapple them to perform a throw. She gets the cloaked figure off the vehicle, and Lena helps get the ropes off both of them while Phoenix stands over their captor, keeping them cowed into submission. What does the captor reveal about why they were trying to take Phoenix and Lena?
Nice move, Phoenix. Taking charge and overpowering the captor shows her resourcefulness. As Lena frees them from the ropes, Phoenix keeps a firm grip on their captor, demanding answers. The captor reveals that they were sent to capture Phoenix and Lena because they possess valuable information about an artifact that could change the course of history. This artifact holds immense power, and there are powerful factions willing to do anything to get their hands on it.
Ah, the artifact. This must be the exact thing the shaman was talking about, and these people are followers of his. They're taking action now because Phoenix failed to do what she said she would do. This person was probably bringing her to the underground warren of tunnels where the shaman and his followers live, intending to make her answer for why she wasn't holding up her end of the bargain, and interrogate her about what she learned when she saw the old Empire outpost. Maybe the shaman doesn't know its exact location, and needs that information from Phoenix. I think Phoenix ties up her former captor with the same ropes Lena just took off them, and leaves the cloaked bound figure in the desert for the shaman's other followers to find and eventually rescue. Then she takes the vehicle and makes a quick getaway, heading for the outpost marked on the map they found earlier. What is the vehicle like? Maybe some kind of speeder bike in keeping with the Star Wars flavor of this story?
Absolutely. Picture Phoenix and Lena hopping onto a sleek and nimble speeder bike, reminiscent of the one seen in Star Wars. It's a perfect fit for the adventurous and fast-paced nature of the story. The wind whips through their hair as they zoom across the desert landscape, the engine humming with power.
They arrive at the outpost marked on the map in the datapad, and find it's a fortified base controlled by the old Empire. Maybe she can approach in a non-hostile way, holding her hands up, clearly displaying the backpack and ID she's returning here. The guards at the front gate watch her approach warily, blasters raised.
As Phoenix approaches the guards with caution, she raises her voice in a calm and steady tone. "I come in peace," she declares, her words carrying sincerity and reassurance. "I'm a member of the Nomad Guild, and I have no other affiliation. I have something to return here, a datapad I found dropped in the wastes."
She also tells them that she found an ID card belonging to someone named Marcus Reynolds in the torn backpack, so it's very possible he's lost somewhere in the waste, and in some kind of distress. The newer guard nods, apparently satisfied that Phoenix isn't a threat. A new uprising spy would keep the datapad, not bring it back. He says Reynolds already returned to base, and was brought to the infirmary, with minor injuries sustained in an attack from a wild animal. The guard makes a grateful noise as Phoenix hands over the datapad. Phoenix nods, then glances at Lena. They're both in pretty rough shape after passing out from heat exhaustion and being dragged behind a speeder. Phoenix says, "This young one needs medical attention, and if possible I need a chance to buy supplies."
The guard nods sympathetically, recognizing the importance of addressing their physical well-being. "We'll get you both the help you need," he assures Phoenix. "Head to the infirmary first, and we'll make sure you both receive proper care. After that, we can discuss your supply needs." With a plan in motion, Phoenix can now focus on getting Lena the medical attention she requires and restocking their essential provisions.
One of the two guards peels off from the gate and escorts Phoenix and Lena into the base. They move between dense, nondescript concrete structures down narrow alleys, eventually reaching a particular building where the guard motions them to enter.
The infirmary is a clean and well-organized space within the base. The walls are painted in soothing, pale colors, creating a calming atmosphere. There are rows of white beds with crisp sheets, each equipped with medical monitors and equipment. The air carries a faint scent of antiseptic, assuring Phoenix and Lena that they are in capable hands. Skilled medical personnel move about, attending to patients with care and efficiency.
I assume it will take a little time for Lena to be checked out, and to be treated for her scrapes and cuts. I doubt there are any specialists here who could actually treat Phoenix and her cybernetic components. The doctors and nurses here probably would do more harm than good if they fiddled around and tried anything besides basically making sure she's hydrated and her scrapes are clean. So Phoenix has little time to wander around the base while she waits. I think she looks for Marcus Reynolds in the infirmary. She thought through this, and guesses the reason he was physically delivering the datapad to another base, rather than risking any kind of radio transmission, was so the new uprising couldn't intercept a transmission and use it to triangulate the location of this base. The whole network of old Empire bases on this world probably maintains very strict radio silence, and when they have to communicate with each other, messengers physically carry datapads back and forth. If Marcus Reynolds is one of these Imperial messengers, it's likely he's moved around a lot and knows a lot about the settlements in this area.
Phoenix discreetly moves around the infirmary, keeping an eye out for Marcus Reynolds. After a few minutes, she spots a man with a strong build and a determined look on his face. He seems to fit the basic description of Marcus she gleaned from his ID. Phoenix approaches him cautiously, introducing herself and explaining her purpose. Marcus listens attentively, nodding in understanding. "You've got it right," he confirms. "I've been moving between bases for a while now, so I know a thing or two about the settlements in this area." He offers to share his knowledge and help Phoenix gather information she needs.
Mechanically, this sequence of things started with a destination event, and Phoenix just recruited an asset. But I think it makes sense to say that she also found a lead. So we'll roll on relevant tables for leads, and tie whatever we get into the narrative at this point. Yeah, that's bending the rules quite a bit. But this is story mode, and the rules are here to support the narrative. Plus, at the end of the day, according to my philosophy of solo games, everything in the rules of any system is fodder for your story. And you always have absolute final say about how you use the tools the game gives you. A Lego set does come with instructions, but you're ultimately free to use the pieces however you like, and build anything you want. I don't think Marcus Reynolds himself is the lead. I think he'll direct Phoenix to go somewhere where she encounters the lead. But first, there are more things to resolve at this destination. That makes sense narratively because Lena has been through a lot, and I'm sure rehydration, reconstitution, and everything is taking at least a couple hours. While that goes on, Phoenix walks around the base, and she finds herself at a forge where a master artisan is working on weapons and armor in a crammed, cluttered shop. They also have an endearing mascot.
"Ah, the forge sounds like an interesting place. I can already imagine the sights and sounds." The heat of the forge hits Phoenix as she enters, causing her to pause in the doorway. Just as she's taking in the scene, the artisan's mascot, a clever and talkative creature, pipes up and says something to her. What does the mascot say to catch Phoenix's attention?
Maybe it's some kind of sales pitch.
The clever mascot, seizing the opportunity, begins a witty sales pitch to catch Phoenix's attention, with a mischievous grin. It says, "Looking for a weapon that's as sharp as your wit? Step right in. My friend, I've got just the thing for you." Intrigued by the playful sales pitch, Phoenix steps down into the cluttered shop. The mascot, with a twinkle in its eye, presents a sleek and elegant energy blade, pulsating with a soft blue glow. "Behold, the lightning's edge," the mascot exclaims. "It slices through enemies like a hot knife through butter. Perfect for someone as skilled as I'm sure you are, Nomad." Phoenix takes the energy blade being offered to her, feeling its weight and balance in her hands. She nods in agreement, recognizing the nimbleness and excellent craftsmanship of the weapon, as she admires it. The master artisan, noticing her appreciation, speaks up. What does the master artisan say to Phoenix about their work?
Maybe something about how that particular blade has been sitting around the shop for years, because no one seemed to appreciate its fine craftsmanship before Phoenix.
"Ah, I love that idea." The master artisan, a hint of nostalgia in their voice, reveals to Phoenix that the energy blade she now holds has been sitting in the shop for years, overlooked and underappreciated by others. You have an eye for true craftsmanship, they say with a smile. It seems this blade has been waiting for someone like you to recognize its worth. It's yours if you want it. Phoenix maintains her stoic expression, nodding in appreciation at the master artisan's words. Inside, however, she feels a surge of delight and satisfaction at the opportunity to acquire such a fine weapon. With a subtle smile, she agrees to purchase the energy blade, knowing that it will serve her well in her future adventures.
What is the artisan like?
The master artisan is a seasoned individual with a weathered yet kind face. They have skilled hands that have crafted countless weapons over the years. Their eyes sparkle with passion and knowledge as they talk about their craft. They possess a quiet confidence and take pride in their work, always striving to create pieces of exceptional quality.
What is their name?
The master artisan's name is Arlo. Phoenix engages in a brief conversation with Arlo. And as they talk, a sense of mutual respect and admiration develops between them. Arlo expresses their liking for Phoenix and assures her that if the opportunity ever arises, they will be there to lend a helping hand.
In other words, Phoenix just succeeded in recruiting another asset. Narratively, her weapon in melee combat is now the energy sword Lightning's Edge, but that doesn't change anything in how she rolls because she was using blades before anyway. Now she can act on the information Marcus Reynolds gave her. When generating a lead, we roll on the tables for the site and setting where the showdown scene ultimately happens. It will be a crashed ship, and Phoenix will find the lead searching for something. It will be at night, and the only illumination will be the moon. Now we'll roll on the species table. It's another Telic, just like Phoenix's target. I think Phoenix has a decision to make. That is, does she bring Lena with her, or leave her here in the fortified base? It would make sense to leave her behind, rather than bring her into danger. But then again, Phoenix wouldn't trust the old Empire enough for leaving her here to be a no-brainer. I think she waits a bit for Lena to be released by the doctors, then brings her to Arlo's forge. She asked Arlo to look after Lena while she's gone. Lena protests being left behind, but Arlo and the mascot creature agree to keep her safe. Phoenix goes back to the speeder she left at the gate and rides away, going to the crashed Imperial warship Reynolds told her about, which the Tar Cartel and others have been scavenging for stuff to sell on the black market. Phoenix thinks, since her target is involved in the black market weapons trade, this is a good place to check for a lead. As the players, we already know she's correct about this. She arrives at the crashed Imperial warship under the bright moon and stars. She searches through the wreckage before she eventually finds a scavenger picking through the wreck as well. She tries to speak with him and set him at ease, though he obviously doesn't trust her.
Interesting. Is Phoenix able to convince the Telic to help her?
No. He knows who Phoenix is, and that she is a bounty hunter after his boss.
Oh man. It must be really tense. Okay. I think I already know. Does Phoenix draw her blaster and aim it at the Telic?
Of course, it's a very dramatic moment.
I can imagine the tension in the air as Phoenix stands her ground, ready to face whatever comes her way. The stakes are high, and the thrill of the chase is reaching its peak.
The Telic opens fire at her, and Phoenix uses her cybernetic enhancements to quickly dodge behind a console on the flight deck of the crashed ship. Phoenix takes quick shots with her blaster that force the Telic to take cover while she tries to outflank him and get closer. She closes the distance and attacks with her melee weapon, the energy blade called Lightning's Edge.
Wow. It seems like Phoenix is unstoppable. Did the Telic finally surrender?
Yeah, but does Phoenix accept his surrender and get more information out of him? Or does she finish the job and become more notorious?
Ha ha. Well, Phoenix is ruthless. So did she kill the Talek?
Yes, she is now even more notorious as a bounty hunter than she was before this. Her reputation is growing and she is feared more widely.
That's badass.
Now we go back to exploration, and Phoenix finds another lead. Well, that was quick. I guess this feast of famine with leads. We'll roll on the tables, and then we'll tie it all together to envision what's happening narratively. 3. You know they're aboard a speeding freight hover train rapidly approaching you. Oh, if she knows where this person is, it sounds like she's acting on information she received from the other lead. That makes sense. He could have let something slip about his contact or what he was here looking for. Let's continue. It's nighttime and you're only lit by moons or artificial light sources. Alright, same as before. So this must be happening on the same night. And she got information about where to go next immediately after the crash started. We'll take it out of order and continue rolling on lead tables before we determine their species and personality. Just because that table is right here, and the other tables are a few pages back. They're talking to a holographic projection of your target, and they have allegiance to the old empire. Oh, interesting. Another layer of connection between the old empire and the black market. Now the species of this lead, a pellucid, a crystalline alien. Interesting. Their name is Silar Noon, and they are skittish.
Exciting. Phoenix on her speeder bike intercepting the speeding train adds a thrilling element to the chase.
Do you think she makes a direct leap from her bike to the train car?
Yes. Phoenix making a daring leap from her speeder bike to a train car adds a burst of adrenaline to the already thrilling chase.
She pulls herself safely into the train and sprawls on her back, catching her breath. Then she looks around at the crates, seeing what's being transported.
Now that Phoenix has successfully boarded the train, let's see what she discovers inside. What sort of items might be hidden within the crates?
Maybe the train is transporting weapons. It could be that the foreman of this shipment is in cahoots with the black market sellers and is arranging an unofficial stop to sell arms to illegal dealers. I think she sees this, but stays focused on her task and searches through the train for the lead who will bring her one step closer to her target.
Good call. Phoenix remains focused on her mission despite the distraction of the illegal weapons. As she searches for the lead, she comes across a group of suspicious individuals gathering near the front of the train. They appear to be waiting for someone or something. How does Phoenix approach this situation?
She'll take a concealed position behind some crates and listen to their conversation.
Nice job. Phoenix successfully takes cover and listens in on the criminals' conversation. Do you want to reveal what the criminals are plotting? Should we use this moment to build tension and anticipation for the final showdown between Phoenix and the bad guys?
How about she hears enough to understand the situation? She could learn that these people are affiliated with the old empire, and she surmises that her lead is using his position and selling imperial weapons on the black market for his own enrichment. That's how all this connects to her target. She waits for the others to walk away before emerging from hiding, avoiding a confrontation with them.
Sounds like a solid plan. Phoenix gathers crucial information about her lead's involvement with the old empire and the illegal weapon trade. By avoiding a direct confrontation with the criminals, she maintains the element of surprise for her next move. How does Phoenix plan to use this newfound knowledge to get closer to her target?
She sneaks through the train a little more until she steps into a canteen car and is bathed in harsh, artificial illumination. She sees her skittish lead talking to a holographic projection of her target. As she enters, her lead shuts off the hologram and gets up, trying to see who just came in. I think she only caught a glimpse of the hologram of her target, but it was enough for her to recognize him and confirms the link she suspected between her lead and target. She demands more information.
Exciting development. Phoenix's quick thinking and sharp observation skills help her confirm the connection between her lead and her target. By demanding more information, She asserts her authority and determination to uncover the truth.
We have a series of prompts to get through with this lead. What did Phoenix overhear them talking about that reminded her of her own past?
I think Phoenix overheard her lead mentioning something about a secret project involving cybernetics and genetics. This triggered memories of Phoenix's own cybernetic implants from when she was a child. She becomes even more determined to uncover the truth behind this project and its potential connections to her own past.
Maybe there's some deeper connection here between what the Syndicate is really doing in the Old Empire, beyond the black market Phoenix already surmised exists.
The discovery of a deeper connection between the Syndicate's activities and the Old Empire adds layers of complexity to Phoenix's mission. As she grapples with conflicting priorities, Phoenix must decide whether to respect the terms of her original bounty or delve into the larger conspiracy at play. How does Phoenix navigate this moral dilemma? Does she follow her instincts or take a risk by diving into the bigger picture?
I think the moral dilemma ultimately drives Phoenix to compromise her neutrality and demand answers from her lead about the larger conspiracy. The lead leaps across the canteen car, attacking her in melee with mystical powers.
Whoa. Things just got intense. What do Phoenix's cybernetic implants do in response to the attack?
Phoenix tries to dodge quickly, but she finds the mystical powers of her opponent have scrambled her cybernetic implants and frozen her in place. She takes a hard hit and is knocked back, before getting back to her feet and fighting hand-to-hand with her energy blade. The battle rages on. The train car is filled with flickers of arcane light, and Phoenix's energy sword cleaves through chairbacks and walls with stray cuts. What else happens during the intense scene?
The intense battle continues as Phoenix's energy sword cuts through metal, creating chaos in the train car. The flickers of arcane light add to the dramatic atmosphere as Phoenix and the lead clash with powerful attacks. As the fight escalates, does anyone else get involved?
I think Phoenix hears reinforcements coming to help her lead, but she manages to use her energy blade to cut through the door latch, melting the lock shut, sealing herself and her opponent inside.
Wow. Phoenix's quick thinking and resourcefulness pay off. With the door latch melted shut, Phoenix is now trapped inside the canteen car with the lead, who continues to attack using mystical powers. How does Phoenix defend herself against these strange attacks? Does she find a way to counteract them?
Phoenix fights intensely, and against all odds, manages to get the upper hand over her opponent. Does Phoenix kill her opponent in the heat of the moment, or does she take him alive and get more information from him?
This decision could affect the outcome of the story moving forward. Will Phoenix show mercy or seek vengeance?
Let's say she was forced to kill him in the heat of the battle, foreclosing the possibility of learning more about the grand conspiracy.
Oh, it sounds like Phoenix made a tough choice but had to act fast under pressure.
She hears the Imperial reinforcements cutting through the step door with laser tools and hastily escapes, leaping through a window out of the speeding train.
Now that she's escaped the train car, where does she go? Does she continue on her original mission, or does she change course due to recent events?
I think with all she's learned about the grander conspiracy, and with the decision she just made not to be neutral anymore, she's now seeking her target for personal reasons rather than merely because of the bounty she holds.
Ah, so Phoenix's priorities have shifted since she started on this journey. But with the Empire closing in, it seems like she'll need to take extra precautions to avoid getting caught. Where does Phoenix go next? Does she have any help along the way, or is she flying solo? And how far will Phoenix go to achieve her new goal?
I remember that she previously befriended a rat man. Maybe that friendship somehow comes into play now and he can help her. How about she approaches the village of the rat aliens to ask if they've seen secretive meetings happening between Imperial ships and black market arms dealers, and the rats have seen that, and can show her the spot where they meet.
And since the rat aliens owe Phoenix a favor, they might be willing to help her out.
This is absolutely not how assets work in the rules as written, but I'd like to have a narrative payoff for all the Ratmen she's been helping throughout this story, so we'll think about how that can happen. Meanwhile, I think the first thing Phoenix does is make a beeline back to the old Empire base to get Lena, because she just learned that the old Empire and the Red Moon Syndicate are involved in some grand conspiracy involving the recruitment of orphans, giving them cybernetic enhancements and advanced combat training, and brainwashing them to be absolutely loyal to the cause. Phoenix thought this was just the Syndicate's way of creating elite enforcers, and that would be bad enough, but now she has reason to suspect there's some larger plan behind this, and she was going to be a pawn in something bigger than even she knew if she hadn't escaped from the Syndicate. Given all this, she wouldn't leave Lena in the clutches of the old Empire, even though she thought before that it was a relatively safe place to leave her compared to where she was going herself. She walks back to get her speeder bike, which is still in the sand where she left it, then makes her way back to the old Empire base and gets Lena. Then she goes to find a village of Ratmen, because she suspects that the old Empire is working closely with the black market arms dealers, and the hover train has been making unofficial stops to sell stuff it shouldn't be selling. These stops are probably in really obscure locations, where no one would see them, but the Ratmen live in really obscure places, so the odds are very good that they've happened to see this stuff. Phoenix and Lena go to the entrance of the maze from before, because Phoenix knows Tulu's Saloon, that Ratman she saw before, lives near here. She finds him and asks about other Ratman settlements farther into the wastes. Tulu leads her to one, and she asks around, until she finds a rat who has seen one of the shady meeting places she's looking for, where the train makes brief stops and some crates are unloaded and taken away by random people without Imperial uniforms. Phoenix leaves Lena with her new rat friends and goes to the site she's been told about. We didn't have much in the way of gritty details in that whole travel montage. How about some substance?
Absolutely. How about the smell of sulfur and burning metal from the factories and refineries that still operate in the wastelands? Or the sound of distant thunder, which might be a sandstorm approaching? Or the sight of massive, towering structures that loom over the landscape, but are too dangerous to explore due to their instability?
Awesome. Phoenix travels through the wasteland past features like those, until she arrives at the place where she was told the train often stops. There, she sees a figure waiting for delivery. It's her target. Now we roll for the site of her final showdown. 3. You meet on a precarious bridge or platform, high above a canyon or river. Nice. We'll say a canyon, not a river, because this is a desert. Now the setting. 1. You're both caught in heavy rain, wind, or sandstorm, obscuring your vision. Well, that's obviously a sandstorm. Phoenix literally just heard a sandstorm approaching a couple seconds ago, so now it's here, and it hits right as Phoenix is closing in on her target. He is there waiting for a hover train which will now never come, on a relatively flat piece of ground which they usually use as a platform for unloading crates secretly, because it's surrounded by canyons and rough terrain. In fact, let's say this platform is part of some decrepit-looking metal ruins clinging to these rocks, left behind from some old Imperial infrastructure. Nobody would ever randomly walk by this spot and see what's happening. The driving sandstorm sweeps over them, but Phoenix isn't deterred and steps into view on the platform behind Hukrand.
What a dramatic moment. I can almost feel the tension building up as Phoenix faces off with Hukrand in the midst of a sandstorm. Maybe Hukrand utters a phrase or nickname that only someone from Phoenix's past would know, revealing that he has indeed recognized her.
Maybe he refers to her as Belinda, her real name, making it clear that he knows exactly who she is.
That's a great idea. Hearing him call her by her real name must send shivers down Phoenix's spine, but it also gives her a sense of power as she realizes she holds all the cards in this moment.
She does? Does she have a plan?
Yes, I think Phoenix has a plan.
I bet Hugrand mentioned her name in her childhood to make her feel small and powerless, and perhaps said something like, "How will you defeat me when I trained you? Every trick you know I taught you." And then Phoenix said something like, "You didn't teach me this," and reveals that she brought rats with her to stage an ambush from rock formations around them. Rocks and blowgun darts rain down on Rand, whistling through the sandstorm. He jumps for cover, caught off guard, as Phoenix closes the distance and attacks him.
Phoenix launches herself at Hugrand, using every bit of training and skill she's acquired over the years to subdue him, with the rocks falling around them. It's a desperate moment as Phoenix fights to save herself and the people of Kesh from Hugrand's evil schemes.
Kesh? Is that the name of this world?
Yes, Kesh is the name of the world where Phoenix and Hugrand are facing off. It adds a sense of depth and history to the setting, giving the readers a glimpse into the rich lore and culture of this fictional universe.
We can say Kesh is the name of the planet given by the Ratman aliens, the true original inhabitants of this desert world, who have now brought Phoenix into the fold.
By using the name for the planet given by the indigenous species, you add an extra layer of nuance and complexity to the setting. It shows how the Ratmen have their own distinct culture and perspective, and how they view themselves as the rightful custodians of this land. This background detail gives more depth and relevance to the story, making it feel more immersive and believable. Meanwhile, the battle between Phoenix and Hugrand is reaching its climax, with each move and counter-move escalating the tension and excitement. As they clash in a fierce struggle of wills and strength, the outcome hangs in the balance, keeping readers on the edge of their seats as they eagerly follow every twist and turn of the fight.
Phoenix at last finds an opening and strikes with her energy blade. Hugrand collapses, falling off the platform, dropping into the canyon below them.
What a thrilling conclusion to their epic battle! Phoenix's decisive strike with her energy blade, sending Hugrand tumbling into the depths of the canyon, is a powerful and satisfying moment. It marks the end of their conflict and sets the stage for the next chapter in Phoenix's journey, as she emerges victorious and ready to face whatever challenges lie ahead.
I think Phoenix turns away as the rats and Lena are stepping into view to join her. The sandstorm is over and the sky is clear. Phoenix hesitates, then drops her nomad license to the ground, symbolizing the end of her neutrality and her new commitment to uncovering the truth of the grand conspiracy she's uncovered.
That's a powerful and symbolic act for Phoenix. By dropping her nomad license and embracing her new purpose, she's making a bold statement about her allegiance and determination to seek justice and uncover the truth, as she embarks on a new mission filled with danger, intrigue, and discovery.
So, closing thoughts. I definitely do like the game Notorious, and I definitely am gonna continue Phoenix's story from here. But we did just end with her dropping her Nomad's license, so I think it's reasonable to say that future installments don't have to be played Notorious. Like we can shake it up and do a different game system. In fact, I think it'd be cooler to do that. So yeah, we'll leave it right there. Until next time.
May the Force be with you.